Hey guys, today I want to show you how I use Fibonacci lines from a daily chart, so a longer time frame chart, intraday. So I'll be putting in the Fibonacci lines on the daily chart, but then trading off of a 2 minute or a 5 minute or even a 15 minute. But I want to show you what that looks like and how you can use these daily Fibonacci lines in intraday trading. So the first thing to do is draw your Fibonacci retracement lines. And with Fibonacci lines, what we're looking at is a trend. Fibonacci's work well in trends. They don't work that well in sideways markets, but in trending markets, they work really well. So here we have a downtrend. This is trading view. And if you don't have this side panel up, let me show you that. You click here, it'll have your initial there. Click drawing panel and then go here to Fibonacci. Let me erase these first. Okay, so click Fibonacci lines. You want Fibonacci retracement. I also have it saved as a favorite, and actually mine is here at the bottom of the screen when I want to do it. But if you don't have it set up, click Fibonacci retracement, click on the highest point, and you don't have to be perfect, and I'll show you why in a minute, and draw your Fibonacci lines to the lowest point. And what you want to do then is go to the highest point, and then with the Qs, the highest point was on February 19th, and that was at 540.81. That was the high that day. So with your Fibonacci template here, you're going to click settings and you're going to put in 540.81. And now that's going to lock the high line to the high of your range. And the low was on April 7th. And our low that day was 402.39. So you're going to go back, and you can do it this way, or you can just type in 402.39. And now you've got your Fibonacci lines. And if you click outside of the lines, your template will go away. And then you've just got the lines and they're locked in place. You can click on the Fibonacci lines again and bring the template back if you need to change something. Okay, but just click outside and it's gone. So what I want to draw your attention to is after this low was reached, and I drew in these Fibonacci lines this day, I believe, after the low was reached. So it's been a while that I've had these lines on my chart. But if you look at the 10th of April, right? So we've got our Fibonacci daily lines drawn in, and we're looking for a retrace. But basically, you're going to get a 25%-ish retrace off the bottom in a move like this. Basically every time when you have a short-term bottom, you're going to get a 25% bounce higher. It's almost a given. Nothing's a given in trading, but as close to a given as you can get. And then you're going to want to pay attention to the 38% line, because the 38% line is often where larger money institutes are looking to get out if they didn't sell the bottom, and they do it too. But they're looking to get out on a retracement in the downtrend. Remember, we're in a downtrend. When you get a bounce, the smart money is often selling into that bounce, and they're watching that 38% line. The other line I want to draw your attention to on the chart is the 20. I use the simple. If you want to use the exponential, fine. But I use the simple moving average on my charts, and this is the 20. And while we're looking at that, just really quick, you can see each time we recovered to the 20 while we're in this downtrend, we touched it. And if you were trading particularly this day on the 9th, when we had a big move, it was positive tariff news, and you were in this day and you were looking for a level, a high for the day that we could move to, the 20 was a really good target, right? So you want to have the 20 on your chart. These are the Fibonacci lines, and what I want to do is focus again on the 10th of April and how you could have traded that day, or at least looked for trades that day based on having these lines on your chart. So now I'm going to go to a 2-minute chart, and I'm going to go back to the 10th of April. So here we are on the 10th, right? And this is the entire day. This is the 2-minute chart, as you can see here. This is the beginning of the day, and this is the end of the day for April 10th. What I want you to see is how we opened just below that 38% line and then started drifting lower. You should be looking for shorts as we're dropping under that line from that previous large green candle day, right? This gives you a sort of a guidepost as to direction intraday, even though these lines are from the daily chart. So under that 38% line, which is basically at we'll call it 455, you're looking at short, and then around 12:30, you see we start bottoming, and this is a classic bullish engulfing pattern, what I like to call a hairpin turn, where you get a couple of large green candles, and you can combine the two candles here that completely reverse these red candles behind. So this is a reversal pattern in your candlesticks. You get a drop down, and you get a higher low on the next retrace, and then a move higher from there. So you should be looking for longs and long setups at this level, which is now that 23% level. And I'll go back to the daily chart in just a second so you can see, where those lines are exactly again and review that. But you can use these lines intraday as sort of signposts on the map, right? These should help guide where you're looking for a move to go to and where you're looking for a reversal. So if you were short from here, here's where you want to start tightening up stops and possibly look to get long, right? We had a nice move off this 435 level back up to the 450 level. Now let's go back to the daily chart, and I'll show you that day again, right? This is the 10th. We opened here, moved all the way down from the 38% to the 23% levels on the Fibonacci lines, and then moved all the way back up. On this day, the 14th, we opened up right at the 20, and you have a falling 20. And again, each time we touched that 20, we had a reaction lower. So if you were looking for shorts on the 14th and you needed a target for where we would go intraday, look to the Fibonacci line, right? We broke below it. The line is, again, at that 455 level, and we printed as low as 452.5. Right, so not far off from target, and that was a pretty good target for a low after touching the 20 intraday. We sort of had the same thing as we were compressing on the 15th. We opened here around 457. We traded up, almost got to the 20. We were about a 1.5 off, and then traded back down and almost got to that Fibonacci line again. So here you could have combined, right, this 20 on the daily with the Fibonacci lines and use that as an intraday guide. You go to the 16th, and you see that we just traded in between the Fibonacci lines. So short when we're under but close, and long when we're over the 23% line and close. And then as you can see today, what we've done is we've broken this 23% line and moved lower. And that would have been a good spot to short as we broke through that Fibonacci line to the downside. So just because you draw the Fibonacci lines on the daily chart doesn't mean that they can't help you in a shorter term time frame. So put your lines on and then use those Fibonacci lines as well as the daily 20. You should be flipping back and forth, right? From the 2-minute to the 5-minute, depending on what time frame that you like to trade and that you're trading off of. But you should have the daily lines, especially in a very well-defined downtrend, and the same thing with an uptrend, right? If it's a very well-defined uptrend, you would have just the opposite, and you would anchor your Fibonacci lines here and be pulling them up and put your top here, and then you would be looking for retracements in the uptrend to buy, and it would look, just the opposite of this. So that's how I use Fibonacci lines. Again, draw them on the daily and then have them in place as I trade off a 2, a 5, or a 15-minute chart, or even an hourly chart. But I still use those daily Fibonacci lines as sort of guideposts in my trading. So I hope this helped understand how to trade around Fibonacci lines. If you found the video helpful, please like and subscribe. And again, I'll be doing more videos like this around technical analysis. Thanks.